G'day, it's Shane here from Grape TV, and thank you for joining me at my home bar. But more importantly, thank you for helping me spread McLaren Vale wines to the world. Today, an experiment, or part one of an experiment. I've got two wines from J&J Vineyards. Both of these wines have only been bottled about 2 weeks. So they were opened about 2.5 days ago, just with their caps on. You can see they've been left with their caps on, and the other one. And the idea here is to see how they change or improve in those 2.5 days. What I'm going to do though is that they're going to be left here for another 5 days with the caps on after this tasting, and see what they're like at the end of that, to potentially see also what their aging characteristics might be. Because both wines are fairly big wines with tannin structure there that I think would allow them to age quite nicely. So let's get straight in the wanky thing. 2009 J&J Vineyards McLaren Vale Shiraz. So the Shiraz is all estate grown. Now when I first tried this, the aromas were very much cherry orientated, and there wasn't too much else. Now I'm getting a mixture of cherries, mulberries, maybe just a fraction of plum. Just getting a hint of the oak coming through as well. Now that wine is certainly starting to open up. When I first tried this, the characters were a little bit shaded by the sulphur that was added at bottling. But this wine is definitely coming together now. Those plummy characters are there, the mulberry characters are there. There's a little bit of fruitcake on the palate, and definitely not as dominated as on the initial try with all the tannins. So that's opened up quite nicely. It really is a nice wine, and it shows what breathing can do to a wine, but also shows the effect of bottle shock from a wine that's just been bottled. I won't talk about its aging characteristics just yet, because we'll wait and see what happens at part 2. But certainly with what's happened to this wine since trying it initially 2.5 days ago, certainly means that one should really leave this wine to breathe. It's not wine to crack it open and try straight away. Well, you can do that, but you certainly would get better enjoyment from the wine by letting it breathe. So decant it, give it a good airing, and I think it would certainly make a difference. Yeah, those fruit characters are certainly coming through nicely in this one. In terms of what to eat with it, the winemaker actually recommends some duck liver pate to go with it, and I don't think that's a particularly bad concept, because the complex characters from the duck liver would certainly go nicely with this. So I'll stick with the winemaker's recommendation of the duck liver pate. Now let's try the 09 McLaren Vale Shiraz Cabernet Sauvignon. So again, opened 2.5 days ago. This is estate grown Shiraz, so the same Shiraz that was in the other bottle, with approximately 20% Cabernet Sauvignon thrown in on top of it to see if we can gain some extra complexity in there. So the aromas on this have just toned down a little bit, especially compared to the other wine. I'm expecting they'll open up slightly. There's some black fruits in there, so the influence of the Cabernet. And I seem to remember when I tried this 2.5 days ago, the influence of the Cabernet with some green capsicum type aromas coming through with the black fruits as well. That cherryness is there through the whole thing, and I must say I really enjoy the cherry of this particular Shiraz. Well, that certainly makes a difference. That 20% Cabernet makes a huge difference to this wine. The plum characters, the fruit cakiness is there, but there's this underlying black fruits. And it was interesting to me, I really got the green capsicum flavours when I tried this 2.5 days ago, and that's not there now. So I actually think this has improved dramatically as well in that 2.5 days of sitting here. What I think is also good there is there's some nice dry dusty tannins on the finish, so it doesn't like coat the tongue and the teeth, but the tannin structures are there and very, very different to the tannin structures of the first wine. Particularly with that dry dusty finish. Yeah, see there's more of the cherry coming through there now as this is opening up, which tells me I should open these bottles just a little bit before I try them again in 5 days' time. That really has come together nicely, and Scott the winemaker has done a good job with this blend. I always think winemakers earn their money from their palate and what they do with their blending of the wines. Now, I'm not going to go for something similar that I went for in terms of food match for the Shiraz. What I think for the Shiraz Cabernet with that dry dusty tannins on the finish, that's something with just a fraction potentially of sweetness in there. So maybe an Osso Bucco. I think the sweetness from the tomatoes and would cut through that quite nicely of a tomato based sauce, say from the Osso Bucco. Yeah, that would go down very, very nicely. So I look forward to part 2 to try these both exact same wines but in 5 days time, just with their lids screwed back on top, and see what they're like. So I hope you enjoy the next few days, and we'll meet you back here in a little while to try these wines. Thank you very much and have a great time.